I wanna give you this last question and kind of leave it to you for some final thoughts. If you had a chance to talk to old Antoine, younger Antoine back in the day, old Antoine, young Antoine, have a conversation. What's the information you would drop to him to, I guess, kind of prepare his way from some insight from the older version of you?
Nice. Well, I think the number one thing would be to listen. Just like there's so many people who said, "Hey, don't go down this path. Don't go to that path. Try this." But because I thought I knew everything, I'm
Yeah,
going to go this way. I mean, it would have saved me a lot of time to get to where I am.
sure.
I mean, I believe I still would have been where I am because
Yeah.
it was destined by God to get me there. However, it would have saved me a lot of time
Mhm.
to get there had I would have listened. And we're talking about the books, and so in one of the books, I talk about um, this connecting the dots, and
Yeah.
I close like this: we we all have played connect the dot,
Yeah.
right? And I remember I was doing it one day, and this is younger, and this is probably when I found out really what my purpose was, and like made me get a different perspective on life. Doing connecting the dots, you got one, two, three, so for or ABC, whatever you want to use. And as I'm drawing, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, it's got to be an elephant because it just the dots look like they're elephant.
Yeah.
So I draw an elephant. Below, behold, I realized that wait a minute, I'm missing numbers. I left some stuff out.
Mhm.
So what that meant was I had to go back, erase it, and then do it the right way. And I found out that it wasn't an elephant, but it was actually a dog,
Mm.
or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And my point behind that is how I yield that to a spiritual realm is that this in life, we have to go through the dots of life to get to the big picture. So where to the question, I wish I would have listened
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have just drew an elephant in the beginning.
I got
I
you.
would have followed the path and I would have got to where I was supposed to be sooner than
Sure.
having to erase it and go back and redo it again.
I like that.
That Jonah story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If God's calling you to do something, if we do it the first time, and granted, now as adults, and since we're talking about men and that kind of thing, those dots might be financial situations,
Hmm.
it might be marital situations,
Sure.
it might be career situations, it might be depression, it might be mental, it might be whatever.
Yeah.
But in order to get to the bigger picture, we got to follow the dots. And here's the whole thing in all of that scheme is that the picture is there even before we see it.
For
See,
sure.
God sees what we don't see.
Made that way before the end. Yeah.
So as I'm looking at the page, I see dots tattered and scattered everywhere. But God says just follow the path and you're gonna get to the picture.
I got you. So we're talking about basically learning to trust
Absolutely.
him, trust his process.
Absolutely.
We ain't called to walk by sight regardless. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? It's by faith. And in that way, we can then show the youth that same understanding and inspire them to move on to the thing that God's called them to do.
Absolutely.
I like that,
Absolutely.
man. That's dope. Well, before we get out of here, man, I want you to take a moment. Give me the book titles again, and let the audience know where they can find them online and support you.
Absolutely. So two books that are out currently, Fairy Tales and Faith. It is a children's book. All my books are children's books. However, they're used by adults as well. But Fairy Tales and Faith, it takes all of the fairy tales and it gives a spiritual application and then it provides a moral application. And again, a quote that I've quoted in the book. And so, for example, in that particular book, one of the my favorite story is the Three Little Pigs. So, the Three Little Pigs, Wolf comes, Huff Puff blows the house down. The spiritual application is to whom much is given, much is required.
Okay.
In that sometimes we have to work harder than everybody else. So
Mm.
Pig 1 and 2, they were chilling playing basketball. And if I can bring it to a modern day age, they chilling playing
Yeah.
basketball,
Yeah.
making TikTok videos, what have you. But pig number 3 was still working.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the one that works the hardest is the one that makes it so, when I go in schools, I tell them like, yeah, maybe you do have to stay after school and get the extra tutoring.
Sure.
Maybe you have to come before school. I know that was me. I was at not preschool in general, but I was there before the school opened
Yeah.
just to graduate, and then I had to stay after school, and then had to take summer school just to graduate. But
Sure. Sure.
now I look at myself and I'm like, wow, all that hard work really paid off
Yeah.
because God had given me a lot, and so it required a lot of me to do. And then, we got, people that went to school that, may be here, may not be here. Some are still doing the same thing they were doing.
Yeah.
And so it's that hard work that pays off. So, and then one other story in that book, and I won't give you all of them. You have to get them. But one is like Humpty Dumpty, and we know the
Okay.
story. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a
Great
great
fall.
fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
Mhm.
So the spiritual aspect of this though is why couldn't they put Humpty together again?
It's a good question.
And the thing is, if Humpty could call on the king's horses and he could call on the king's men, we have to assume that he had some kind of relationship with the king.
I would assume so.
And so in life, the moral application in this is that we have access to the king, but yet we're in a financial problem. We go to the bank or go to
Mhm.
cash pay or pond.com or whatever it is. We have a marital situation. We go to Oprah or Dr. Phil or whomever it is on TV now.